The president of the Los Angeles City Council, Nury Martinez, has stepped down as the president of the body following a leak of an audio recording from nearly a year ago where she makes some pretty gross racist remarks about family members of one of her colleagues and also says terrible things about specifically Oaxacans in Koreatown. Now, we have examples for you to listen to, but first some context to understand what the backdrop of the conversation was. Martinez and the other Latino leaders, there were at least 2 other city council members present during this conversation. During the tape conversation, were seemingly unaware they were being recorded as Martinez said a white council member handled his young black son, a 2-year-old by the way, as though he were an accessory, and described Councilman Mike Bonin's son as parece changuito, or like a monkey. Now, the leaked tape was originally posted on Reddit and claimed that the labor movement was in bed with City Hall. And the reason why they made that statement is because one of the other individuals present during that conversation was LA County Federation of Labor President Ron Herrera. Now, the group discussed the city's once a decade process of redrawing council district boundaries, which was underway at the time, as well as the need to re-elect Latino council members and ensure that heavily Latino districts did not lose economic assets, such as USC and the Van Nuys Airport. Now look, having a discussion about wanting to represent the Latino community in LA is totally fine. It's the way they went about it. So the people that you're gonna hear from is mostly Nury Martinez, again, now the former president of the LA City Council, Kevin De Leon, who's another city council member, Gil Cedillo, who's another city council member who has just been voted out, and then you have the LA County Federation of Labor President Ron Herrera. Now, what we're about to hear about is this dispute. They're discussing a dispute between council members, Curran Price and Marquise Harris Dawson, who were at odds last year over whose district would represent USC and Exposition Park once the new maps were finalized, okay? So that's what they're talking about. Both men happen to be black and represent parts of South Los Angeles. Martinez told the group that she had a conversation with a businessman, Danny Bakewell, about the situation and argued that if Harris Dawson is seeking an economic asset for his district, he should seek to move Los Angeles International Airport out of Bonin's district and into his. So that's the context. With that said, let's listen to what Nury Martinez said.
So getting back to Marquise, I told Danny, if you want to cut a deal and if you want to make like boss moves, I would go after the airport. He goes, I love that idea. I said, tell Marquise,
so
go take it from his friend. Don't go after. Leave him alone. Yeah. Go get the airport from his little brother, that little bitch Bonin. I go, what is with the Bonin? What is with Bonin? And I said, Bonin thinks he's black. That guy don't think he's black. I go, he thinks he's black. I know the same thing.
This kid is.
He goes, why are they so close?
And he's from Massachusetts. This kid, the one here, this kid is the dog.
He's black.
Yeah.
Lo trae así during Black History Month, lo lleva al council y lo pone acá en el, remember? Lo trae, it's an accessory. When we do the MLK parade.
Just like when
they used to have those statues in plantations.
Yeah, and then when Nury brings her Goyard bag or the Louis Vuitton bag, and
trae su negrito, like on the side, and lo trae, ¿verdad?
So they're referring to Bonin's 2-year-old son, who happens to be black, as an accessory, and it's about to get a lot worse. But before I get to the rest of the audio, Cenk, any thoughts?
Yeah, there's so many terrible things in here. So one's the obvious over the top racism that it's the big headlines. The second is apparently Veep is a documentary. So behind the scenes, I mean, they say all sorts of terrible things.
Yep.
I mean, Bonin is gay, and so she called him a little bitch. So there's that too, which is getting very little press attention. But maybe they just curse about everybody. I don't mind cursing. I mind any kind of insinuation based on identity, right? But behind the scenes, man, they are no holds barred. And what's interesting is that, like, in front of the scenes, there's they're like so professional and composed, and their apology note is so sophisticated. And the media always tells you these are wonderful people. Like they never report on this trash that they say behind the scenes, right?
Well, they don't know about the trash.
No, they don't know about this specific trash.
Right.
Definitely, to be fair, right? But so none of the reporters know that they talk like this behind the scenes. I'm not talking about the racist stuff. I'm talking about all the other stuff, right? Massively insulting their own voters, the other council members, etc. So I never see that in the press. All I ever see in the press is the reporters kissing their asses. Okay, so now we'll get to this a little bit later, but I thought the stuff they said about corruption was actually the most damning. I mean, sure, of course, racism is always the worst, right? But they're openly talking about, oh, what's going to get them more money? They don't like that the progressive members are like against corruption, and they're mainly talking about real estate interests and how they're going to take money, but they don't want the other people to be a pain in their ass about it. And then, if you notice in that clip, they're talking about the economic assets within a district.
Yep.
Now you might wonder, like, why? Why does it matter if she has the airport in her district or not, right? Don't you want the human beings inside the district? And by the way, politically, it makes sense to go, oh, hey, I want the district to be more Latino because then I'm more likely to win. I get that. That's practical politics, right? But why do you want the airport? Because of the money,
They
Lebowski.
want the money. They want the money.
Because then you could raise money from the business interests in your district. The entire thing is about corruption.
Can I
And that's not even noted in any of the stories.
Guys, it's hard for anyone who doesn't live in Los Angeles to understand how awful the conditions on the ground happen to be right now. There is garbage literally everywhere. Everywhere. People are struggling. There are countless overdose deaths on sidewalks all throughout the county. They don't care about the people of Los Angeles at all, at all. And I think that these recordings make that abundantly clear. So let's go to the next one. Later in the conversation, Nury Martinez and Kevin De Leon decide to say more disparaging things about Mike Bonin's son, who again is a 2-year-old and happens to be black.
For MLK, for the parade that Herb used to organize, and we all the council who wanted to join Herb on the float, because he used to do a whole float to be nice. Bonnie would be like, hey, Nury, are you going to the MLK? Well, Herb invited me, yeah, I'll go. Okay, I'm bringing whatever the kid's name is. I'm like, it's like the oddest thing. It's like black and brown on this float. And then there's this white guy with this little black kid who's misbehaved. Este niño has they're not doing they're not doing, the kid is bouncing off the effing walls on the floor, practically tipping it over. There's nothing you can do to control him. Parece changuito. And I'm just like, oh my God. I'm over here trying to parent this kid. I'm like, you can't do that. I said no.
Classy, calling a 2-year-old black child, a monkey. That is what she said in that clip.
Yeah, by the way, she also insulted white people next. She said that Bonin was raising him like a white kid.
Right.
And she said, I would take him out in the back. You got that?
We actually do have that. So let's go to the last clip and then I'll read some other quotes from her later in the video. Let's watch.
Literally hanging on the rails.
Well, you can't let him off because the spectators will beat his ass.
Yeah.
They're raising him like a little white kid, which I was like, this kid needs a beat down. Like, let me take him around the corner and then I'll bring him back.
She also said in the context of that clip that she wanted to basically take him aside, give him a beating, and bring him back. She said that about a 2-year-old kid. About a 2-year-old kid.
But look, guys.
And everyone in that room was like laughing, engaging in that conversation. Not a single person put a stop to it, called it out. Total business as usual. Business as usual.
I mean, it's almost like she was trying to do like insult bingo, right? Because she's insulting white people there by saying they can't control their kids. But she's also insulting Latinos by saying, hey, the right way to do it is to beat your kids, and that's the Latino way. Now, don't get me wrong, I know the old school, that there was more spankings and beatings, etc. I'm Turkish, that happened in the old country too. So I'm not unaware of that. But like, she's the president of the city council. She's like, oh, Latinos beat their kids and that's awesome. And white people don't beat their kids and that sucks. let alone the racist comments about the black kid to begin with. I mean, it's just a nightmare.
So there was more in this conversation. So the group then questioned whether Chateau Place, a small street in Lafayette Park, are in Koreatown. Okay, so I see a lot. This is so disgusting. I see a lot of little, short, dark people, Martinez said, of that section of Koreatown, employing stereotypes long used against Oaxacans in Mexico and in the United States. I was like, I don't know where these people are from, she said. I don't know what village they came from, how they got here, Martinez said, before adding tan feos, which means they're ugly. Okay,
Jeez.
These are voters. They're talking about the community that they're supposed to be representing. Oh, they're ugly. I don't know what village they came from or where they came from. No, I think you're pretty ugly. I mean, what you're saying, who you are, that makes you ugly, okay? It's unbelievable. Martinez also said, F that guy, he's with the blacks, while speaking about Los Angeles County District Attorney George Gascon.
He's with the blacks. I mean, that's how they think. They're on the Los Angeles City Council. She's the president, or was. Okay, so look, guys, one more thing. There's racism within ethnic groups too. So in Cuba, a lot of times the lighter looking folks were racist against the black Cubans, right? In Latino communities, unfortunately, some of the, again, lighter skinned folks and the ones that could trace their heritage back to European